Welcome back to Old School at the Movies, your one-stop shop for all your movie-related news. I'm your host, Mr. Old School. Before we get to the panel this week, let's get into the contact information. oldschoolmovies2@gmail.com, our email address, oldmovies.net. And I got to turn my phone off. Hashtag OSATM for any comments or questions for the panel. This week's panel, of course, we got Mr. Heavyset.
Yeah, it's about time we did a show, and what the listeners won't know is you haven't produced the previous 2 episodes that they've heard before this as we're recording this.
Thank you for breaking the fourth wall once again, Heavyset. And
you're breaking the fourth wall? Stop breaking the fourth wall. Stop breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse for the year end because it's fucking March. So I just have to eat it. It's just bad me. The last 2 weeks I did 80 hours of overtime and I literally am mentally broken. But I will get the year end episode out this evening. A week ago, if you're listening to this, and then no, it's happening. It's like that's my absolute. If I don't release that this day, I will just jump out the window and die. I'm done. Forget it. No, no suicide. I will release it. I don't know. I kill myself.
So,
would be kind of weird. But
so you worked all that overtime. So that's like what, $5 American after you're done?
No, it's around $6.50. I think. After tax and all that stuff, around $6.50 American is true. Maybe I may be able to get a couple of cherry cokes when we cross the border. And
nice.
Yeah,
try the orange vanilla Coke.
What? Hold on, what?
I haven't had it yet, but there's it's definitely going to be a flavor that's not going to last long. But it's orange vanilla Coke is like the new gotta try it.
Karp, do you still have hookups? Because I need to try this.
Speaking of which, we have Karp.
Oh, Karp. Hey, what's on? What's up?
Speaking of shows that get edited, All Beer Inside 34 is out, and probably 35 by the time you hear this.
37 and 30.
We may be on our 50th episode anniversary at that point. And Old School jumping out your window is cheating since you live in a semi-basement. So...
Why are you breaking the fourth wall, man?
I don't think you're going to die.
Why are you breaking the basement wall?
I mean, I don't know what floor you are in the new building in the office. And you might be like that dick in Chicago who's like, watch me bounce off the window.
Where I moved to, please.
I didn't.
Do not tell Andy. You son of a bitch. Don't tell Andy where I moved to. Worst case,
son of a bitch.
Because I think he's going to finally be able to afford the gas to drive to Montreal, I'd say, this year. So he's going to be looking in the old building for me, so let him keep looking there.
Which they're still renovating, so who knows if that building will even be accessible at that time.
Karp, speaking of vanilla Coke, guess what I tried from Tokyo Treat, Heavyset?
Oh, God. Was it not the raspberry Coke?
So the first month, I got to try their equivalent of Yoo-Hoo, which is fucking amazing. Do you remember Yoo-Hoo? Did you ever have that?
Yeah. Well, Yoo-Hoo was like my shit back in the day.
I don't know what ever happened to that, but I just have a nostalgic fucking attachment to it. And I know it's like not real milk, or I don't even know what the fuck it's made of, but it's
still amazing.
So good. And so that was the first month. And this month, just this weekend, I was able to try Peach Coke.
Okay, yeah. That was the one. I had Peach Coke through Tokyo Treat. Then recently here in the States, it's like a signature series they're doing. There's like 3 different kinds of Cokes. There's Mexican Coke, which you can get a lot of places. It's kind of big. Huh? No, that would be original Coke. No, I think the sugar content's a little bit different. I think it's a little sweeter. And then the other 2, which you can get Mexican Coke a lot of places, but the other 2 are raspberry Coke and peach Coke. It's good. And then all 3 of those come in glass bottles.
And is it me, or it just tastes better in a glass bottle for some reason?
It does. Every year around Christmas, I always buy either the 4-pack now with the Mexican Coke, or I get a 6-pack of the smaller bottle glass Cokes. And yeah, it's the shit.
I don't know what it is or why, but it tastes better out of a glass bottle. All right, let's get into news this week.
How about a Coke Icy?
Yeah, how about a Coke Icy? Yeah, oh my God.
Oh, side note. We recently got at our local Cinemark theater a new icy flavor, which they haven't introduced a new one in quite some time. It's normally just been the Coke, blue raspberry, and cherry, which I'm fine with that. But they now have a coffee flavored, which to me, this is what it tastes like. If you remember, and oddly enough, I just watched a video talking about this. Well, I don't even know if this hit Canada, where there was coffee Coke for a while.
I don't remember this. Karp?
We never had that.
No, I don't think
that was early to mid 2000s. It's because they were trying to compete with energy drinks, so they tried that. Yeah, it was okay. I'm a sucker for wanting to try something new, so I tried it. But something that I'm getting all the time, it wasn't. But when I tried the coffee one, I'm like, oh my god, like this is kind of what it tastes like.
I have like iced mochas. That's as close as but to add Coke to it.
I'm not sure if the coffee icy was supposed to taste like it, or it was where the Coke used to be, and it's been in the Coke flavor had been there for so long that's going to take a while to get that taste out of there. But yeah, to me, it had like a weird balanced flavor that I really enjoyed.
Cool. That's the only thing I get jealous of. You guys always get the new fucking shit, and we very rarely get anything off the wall in terms of like the big box office or the big manufacturers like Coke, McDonald's, whatever. We didn't get the Szechuan sauce thing. We just got.
I still have them in the cupboard.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I am just horrible. I've always been horrible at sending shit out.
Dude, I'll pay the postage if you can send it out, man. That would make my year. I want to try that.
It's just getting it out because I'm like literally. I have a pop figure that I was supposed to give Biohazard years ago. I still have never sent it to him.
Okay.
Anyway, Eyewitness News. Back to you, fuckers.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Chris Hemsworth to play Hulk Hogan in biopic. Now, before I get into this Dark Horizons article, I recall very faintly Hogan being asked, like, off the cuff a couple of years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this. If they would ever do a biopic with him, who would he choose to play him? And he actually picked Chris Hemsworth. Do you guys recall that?
Nah.
No, I don't recall that at all.
Chris Hemsworth will play wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan in a Netflix biopic from the Joker director Todd Phillips and writer Scott Silver. Hogan was a fixture in pop culture in the 80s as part of the World Wrestling Federation, parlaying his championship-winning moves into forays in movies, television, endorsements, and games. Hogan's personal conflicts, however, overtook those inside the ring, including a sex tape scandal and years-long lawsuit that precipitated the end of Gawker, but the film won't deal with those years and focus only on a rise of the origins of the Hulkster and the Hulkamania phenomenon. Deals are closing with Netflix on the film, which Phillips, Hemsworth, Bradley Cooper, Eric Bischoff, and Michael Sugar Spotlight will produce. I don't know if this is possible to do it justice. I mean, he never seemed like a guy who you can really replicate without it seeming like over the top and cheesy. I don't know if Hemsworth can do this. And I get why they're staying away from the controversial shit, but that's kind of the stuff that I'd be interested in. Although, I don't know, like a biopic set in the 80s with his kind of historical stuff. Yeah, again, they're going to probably play with the facts a little bit, but as a Hulkster fan, I'm going to go see it for sure. I just don't see Hemsworth in that role. Maybe makeup and like some early images of him in that role can convince me. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm off base here? Or do you think that he can actually pull this off? Heavyset.
I think one of the biggest things with this movie is that there's a lot of people just doubting it right off the cuff. A lot of wrestling fans that I've heard, they're just like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be good. I don't know what it is. When movies get announced, people just want to make judgments immediately. And I think a movie can be really good and done really well on him if the right people are behind it. I'm not just talking writers and directors. I'm even talking about, a makeup artist and all that kind of stuff to where we can get Chris Hemsworth to be believable as Hulk Hogan. And I think this has the potential of being good, but I'm going to reserve a lot of my judgment until the first trailer because that's going to tell you a lot about a movie. Like, we're going to talk about a movie later about, a wrestler that came out, and I don't remember there being like a lot of, fanfare about the movie before it came out, or I should say when we were getting like announcements about stuff. But as wrestling fans, we've known this movie was coming out for years. Yeah. So now it's Hogan's turn. There's going to be a lot of nostalgia, I think, for fans who are outside of wrestling. And I think that's why you want to get about the 80s stuff, because that's a childhood for a lot of people.
Right.
That's definitely why they're going to target that.
Karp, let's get your 2 cents on this.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just wondering what the supporting cast is going to be like. Now, are we talking when Hogan came up and took the title off Sheik? Are we talking prior to that when he was like in the... I can't remember. I mean, it's too far back because I just remember, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, 24-inch pythons.
I think it's going to be his kind of origins it's going to be like training with Hiro Matsuda, early 80s, like AWA and fighting Nick Bockwinkel, and then having his issues with, the Vince McMahon Sr. regarding the Rocky 3 stuff. I think it's going to be in that era. And then once he becomes huge in Hulkamania, then they'll kind of drift off.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be funny if we saw somebody playing the Poffos, or I should say Macho Man and the Genius.
Yeah,
it depends on how far the storyline is, and like Heavy said, you get the right makeup people, you get the right supporting cast to show the actors this is what you do. Almost like how they have Chavo on Glow to teach the girls actual wrestling. You would have to kind of have the same things. So
it makes sense. So yeah, we got 3 curious wrestling fans here, and it's a Netflix movie, so it's not going to cost us that much to watch it. And Netflix has come up with really good properties very recently, so I think they could pull this off. I would have to see Helmsworth in the makeup and all jacked. He's already jacked, I guess, for most of these movies, but he's going to have to get really fucking jacked he's going to have to put on some gut weight with the arms to really. I don't know if they're going to use prosthetics or whatever, but we'll see. All right, let's get into the movie reviews of the week. You want to do the side-by-side there, Heavy? Da, 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 da! Da, 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 da! Da, 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 da! All right, let's start off with Glass. Heavy, go ahead.
All right, Glass. I had a review going into this and knowing what to expect from it, and I think it's pretty much spot on. If you like Unbreakable, if you like Split, this does go along those lines, but this, for as far as what I see, this is the end of the trilogy, and I think Split was better. It's a classic case of a third movie kind of falling a little short, but it was still fun. Actually, I have to pull up my rating because it's been so long since I've seen it.
While you're pulling up that rating, Heavy, can somebody who has not seen Split go see Glass if they've seen Unbreakable?
I want to say I don't know.
Okay.
Because there's aspects of Unbreakable and there's aspects of Split that are both thrown in there. Like the female lead from Split, Anya Taylor-Joy. You don't really know much about her backstory from just Glass. You need to have seen Split. And it definitely doesn't hurt to watch both movies. You might be able to go through blindly because they might somewhat explain stuff. And the cool thing that I want to throw out that they did is Bruce Willis's character has a son in Unbreakable. They got the exact same actor to play that character. Older, obviously.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool to actually be well, let's just age this with time and boom, put him in there, adult. So it's fucking believable. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. I think I gave Split a 4, and that's where I kind of felt this fell a little bit short of Split. Still a fun movie. The ending, a little bit of a twist, like M. Night Shyamalan does, but they actually close to the end made me think oh my god, there's going to be a 4th movie. But the way they put the final bow on it's okay, that you're basically letting the end be, subject to the viewer, and there won't be any more. So I'll just leave it at that, but 3.5 stars for me.
All right, Karp, let's get your review on Glass.
I had higher expectations going in, which left me kind of disappointed at the end. I found McAvoy did not do nearly as good of a job in this one as he did in the last one. I found his, constant change of character acting in Split was a lot better. The twist was I was kind of not surprised. I figured something like that was going to happen. What I did find amusing was going into the cinema. It's if you're susceptible to epilepsy, please do not see this film as you will have a seizure. Just like Neon Demon, because there's some bright blinking lights at some points. I like the Unbreakable universe idea. I don't like how they closed it. So I think it could have been better in the end. I know I went with our friend Watsuki. He really enjoyed it. I told him I felt a little disappointed at the end. That's me, though. So I would only give it a 2.5 out of 5.
For me, would you recommend that I see Split first?
I would recommend you see both Unbreakable and Split if you haven't.
I've seen Unbreakable.
And if you don't recall Unbreakable, then you may want to see it to kind of get a refresher.
Okay.
I would recommend to see Split no matter what. being this far on that movie, that I thought it was really good. It was a really, I think, breakout performance for James McAvoy.
Okay. The Prodigy, Heavy, go ahead.
Oh, God, The Prodigy. If you listen to this podcast long enough, you'll know I'm not really a big horror movie fan. But the premise of this movie, without giving away too much, is a kid is born at the same time a murderer was killed. And this particular murderer, through like some sort of like religion or something, like he was able to transfer part of his presence into this new life. And for most of his life, he's still like living as this little kid, but like he still has like these memories, and he'll go back and forth between the kid and the murderer. And the mother is trying to like fix him and try to make him, try to get to where her boy is back. Like after she finally finds out everything. Not going to talk about the ending. All I'm going to say is being not a big horror movie person, didn't care for it, but I figure this is something that does happen in more horror movies than others. I gave it 2 out of 5, and even Amanda, when she went to go see it, she was like not really happy about it.
During the body transference, was he all like, Abdu Dambala, give me the power, I beg of you, like Chucky?
No, it wasn't like that.
Oh, well, now I'm disappointed. I actually wanted to see it because it looks kind of creepy, but from what I'm hearing, it's kind of a bit of a disappointment in the end. So
I think we were in between seeing this movie and the Lego Movie 2, and both didn't have favorable reviews. I think Lego Movie 2 had more favorable, but there's a lot of people that I had heard from that was just like, it's okay, but they didn't do one enough justice, and like they kind of took a little bit of the fun out of it. So I held back on, I'm going to go see that. So I think either way, and it's just this part of the year. It's like, well, do we either go see this movie or this movie? And both don't have great reviews, but we need to use the Cinemia shit. So which one do we want to go see? So we chose The Prodigy.
Karp, let's start with you on Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day to you, Karp.
Well, I mean, technically, Happy Heft Day would be Happy Death Day since he is dead.
There you
go. I mean, it was fun. It was more of sci-fi than horror, like the last one was. Her deaths were a lot more interesting that she was repeating this time. Instead of being killed by the killer, she has to kill herself to try and resolve the situation. It's she took a couple of pages out of Bill Murray and Groundhog Day for some of her deaths, and they were quite entertaining. I highly suggest, if you've seen the first one, you're definitely going to want to see the second one. All in all, they're both very fun horror movies, and I can't say enough. I enjoy Jessica Ross' performance. The other super pretty brunette too, like she has a really funny part, which is very entertaining. Gets a little sappy at some points, as I guess a sci-fi movie would be more of than a horror. But hey, if you could look past that, it's all in all fun, and go check it out. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Heavyset, do you agree with that rating?
Not 100%, but I will say that it is an enjoyable movie. Me not being a horror movie fan, I still enjoyed both versions of the movie. Actually, the first Happy Death Day was the first movie we seen with Movie Pass. So now, one sequel later, we're seeing it with something else. But I gave it a 3.5. So it's close, but not necessarily exactly same as Karp. I think I really like about this movie is if I'm correct, there's not really any really big stars at all. Like, you watch the movie and you see a lot of these just characters. That's so-and-so from this other movie. And that's why, like, this movie didn't do great on its first week, but I think I looked at the budget and it was like 11 million. And I was like, okay, they're going to make their money back easily. And this is another movie. I don't know about you, Karp. It almost seemed like, oh my God, we're going to get Happy Death Day 3, but the way they ended it was like, okay, this is the end. But at the same time, when they did Happy Death Day, the first one, like, there was no like, oh my God, they're going to have this cliffhanger because this sequel wasn't even ready. But I like how they tied everything together and had everything made sense. The only thing I think they didn't was the end of the first movie was like a couple of days, if not longer than that. But this movie takes place like 2 days after the first one. So it's like, you kind of cut off part of your previous ending, but fine, whatever. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Fun movie. Like Karp said, if you like the first one, you'll like the second one.
Cool. All right. Let's move on to Fighting with My Family, and I'll start with this one because I watched this last week.
Oh my God, you went to go see a movie.
I know, right?
Yay!
And it was
almost like you have a movie podcast, but I don't know. People wouldn't know that.
Okay, Karp, go ahead to throw some more jabs at me while we're at it. Let's just get it all out right now. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not saying it should be old Phil at the movies or Phil at the movies or Mixmaster Phil at the movies or however you want to say it. But, I'm just saying both trivia games kind of Phil won both. So.
I am not good. There's two things I'm really not good at. One is trivia and two is spelling. And unfortunately, those two things I've had to endure embarrassing moments on podcasts recently. Heavy, I don't think you listen to All Wine Aside, but if you do, don't. Because I came off looking like a giant asshole. All right.
I don't know. Did you just do a podcast recently where you're crying in it? Because I did.
Oh,
it's on the Trending Topics Network.
Oh, you came out with a Hanging with Heavy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to listen to it.
A week ago.
I'm going to listen to it, man. It was my favorite podcast on the network before you stopped doing it, so I'll check it out. At least you can spell, though. All right, so Fighting with My Family. Okay. So I took my girlfriend to this, and she had no idea who Paige was, or she'll watch WWE sparingly with us, usually for the main events, because I have a really good food spread that's out, social, just to hang out or whatever. But she's not a real big fan. Like what's that?
Sounds nothing like you.
Yeah. So she came into it with no expectations, and I was like, yeah, whatever. We had a couple hours to kill, and I had a movie ticket and popcorn or whatever from my car dealer who gives me points when I get oil changes and whatnot. So it was an excuse to go to the theater, and I'm going to start with my rating. I give it a 3. Now, the actress who played Paige, I thought did a half-decent job. In the ring, I mean, she obviously did get some training. She wasn't seasoned, but, for an actress to actually do a bit of wrestling and stuff, I thought it was okay. And I put myself in the mindset of a generalist fan and not a hardcore wrestling fan watching this movie, just due to some of the inaccuracies, specifically like Paige freezing all the time and not having confidence. I don't think that was the case. I'd never heard of that being an issue. And kind of stuff like Vince Vaughn being a trainer was, okay. I get why they did that. They wanted name recognition or whatever. And I thought he did all right. But seeing stuff like Glow and you see more realism for the wrestling, whereas this one was more like Hollywood movie that had some wrestling in it that wasn't, for a hardcore fan, wouldn't appreciate it as much, I guess, as like a generalist fan. It was cool seeing Selena Vega playing AJ Lee, and I thought she actually did a decent impression of her, just her mannerisms and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. Overall, I came out of it entertained. They had some decent names in it. I mean, obviously The Rock, it's The Rock's project, so The Rock was in it. And I came in it with no expectations, and I think that benefited me. I left entertained. There were some things that irked me as a WWE fan, but I kind of put that to the side, and I enjoyed it. Heavyset, let's get your review.
I'll throw out my rating to begin with. Okay. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, but that's just trying to give it a rating as a movie itself. As a wrestling fan, it's going to lose about a half a star to a full star because of all of the inaccuracies in that the whole movie. Whether it be some of the smaller ones, like the big scene at the end where Paige beats AJ Lee for the championship. Obviously, that was taped before WWE show that we all know about a year or so ago.
Yeah.
So there was people in the crowd wearing like Dean Ambrose shirts, like newer Dean Ambrose shirts. There was somebody wearing an Apple Watch, and I'm like, no, that wrong timeline. I know like that wasn't a thing just yet. That's on the small scale, but there's also the whole fact of if you are a wrestling fan, her NXT story is not told at all. That part of the movie is fictitious. Everything else, like when it comes to which the movie is called Fighting with My Family. It's not called Paige Goes to WWE.
Yeah.
So everything, the real focus is the family. And if you get a chance, go to YouTube, type in Fighting with My Family, and you can watch the actual documentary this movie was based off of. So I highly recommend it. I did it like right after I got home. It happened to come up as a suggestion on my YouTube. I'm like, well, I just went to go see the movie. Let's watch this. Still, despite all the inaccuracies, like one I will throw out too, Vince Vaughn's character is a talent agent, and obviously The Rock, everything, like all that whole the shit that happened with her being called up to potentially the main roster was like right after WrestleMania 30. There is a WrestleMania 31 poster in Vince Vaughn's office. That's something that caught my eye. Then later on, they're like, "Oh yeah, WrestleMania 30." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. What was that poster doing?" That didn't happen until a year later.
Yeah,
but that's more of the wrestling fan in me, like pointing out, technically that's not real. Nope, that didn't happen. But yeah, you come into some of that stuff, and the coolest thing is, which I don't know if you caught this, Mr. Old School. Paige's brother, real life brother, has a cameo in the movie.
Oh shit!
Zach is the drug dealer that like he was like bald, and when the character Zach comes up in the van, tries to get the one kid to come back in and go back to wrestling, and like the bald guy he's like, oh, like piss off, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's really him. Oh, so that was the character Zach talking to the real life Zach. So I thought, after finding that out at the end of the movie when they show you these actual footage shit, I'm like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. But the casting was good. The woman they got to play Paige's mom was about as close as you can get for Hollywood. Her dad was played by Nick Frost. The only big difference from the real life version and the Nick Frost version is Nick Frost has a beard, and it seems like Paige's dad at that time, or even maybe now, doesn't. But I think it helped the character look as menacing as he actually was. Other than that, like I said, if you're a wrestling fan, all the NXT shit everything there is fictitious. You're just watching it like me going, that doesn't happen. Oh, and did you catch too, Old School, that they named one of the female NXT wrestlers Jerry Lynn?
No, I didn't catch it.
Yeah, they called her Jerry Lynn a couple times, and I was like, haha, that's cool.
Did you find that the scenes with Rock a bit cheesy? I found this when he was calling the dad, that's fucking cheesy.
Well, I guess something like that actually did, like, I was watching an interview for them promoting this movie, and I guess The Rock called Paige.
Oh, okay.
And said, like, hey, you're going to be on Raw debut, and you're going to win the Divas Championship. Like, that part was real. But I don't think it would necessarily happen, like, as it showed in the movie, but they wanted to cue it in there. But yeah, it was cheesy Rock, but hey, whatever. If that brought more people to see it or made more people entertained, that's fine. I'm not harping too much on it.
Karp, but can you pull up the numbers quick? I'm curious how well it did.
Yeah, give me a moment.
Yeah, okay.
What I'm looking at says 8 million, but okay. I don't know if that's updated to this weekend because we can get the box office mojo for this weekend.
What was the budget?
It's not
that's
listed.
Not okay, but that's not what I'm looking at, so I wouldn't know.
So the budget was 11 million, and as of this recording, March.
Jesus.
3rd. Yeah. It's made 14.9 domestic. It hasn't been released worldwide. Okay. I mean, it was also a Sundance film, so.
All right, so it's like, it's low budget. It's going to make its money back.
Yeah, it's like one of the highest grossing Sundance films in a long time, so.
And I don't think
for 2019.
I don't think this movie had a lot of like print for it. Like, granted, they advertised a lot, but I felt like it was just more TV, and I think it was more with WWE. Like, I think like what you get for bigger box office movies, like those are gonna be like way bigger. This is, I think, going to be on the smaller side.
Yeah. I think they really targeted their ad dollars to wrestling fans.
Yeah,
the people that would go. Yeah, exactly. So, Heavyset, there's an up and coming film that you want to review.
Yeah, there's this movie that I happened to catch at my local cinema. There was literally, I think, only 3 showings for it, and they only had like 2 days worth. So like I got kind of this sneak peek of a movie. It's called, I believe maybe it's the running title for now. It's called The Wizard of Oz.
Okay, never heard of it. Yeah,
so breaking the fourth wall. Yes, I went to go see the 80th anniversary showing, and I believe just being like a movie fan, like the era that we grew up in, the 90s and all that. There's still a lot of like really big movies that weren't big when I was younger, or like even just as an adult. So I would like to, if I get chances, I go back and see them in the movie theaters, but there's not a dedicated movie theater for that kind of stuff. So you have to wait for those opportunities. Like when we went to go see The Room, that was great.
Yeah, special showings, themed nights and stuff at your local theaters. Yeah.
I've seen the Ghostbusters a couple times in the movie theater, and almost every time that will pop up, I will find a way to go just because it's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Godfather's been another one, but this one, when I heard about it, I'm like, oh, like, you have to see The Wizard of Oz in the movie theater. So I've seen it a handful of times, but I think it's been a little while, so it was fun to watch it in the movie theater. Don't really need a rating on it, but yeah, it was one of the things that I spent one of my Cinemia credits on because I was like, well, I got nothing else to see. I think I had one more day, and then the next day, which was a Monday, my bill was going to renew. So I was like, well, might as well go see The Wizard of Oz. And I lucked out because this showing was on a Sunday. I went to go buy tickets the middle of the week on Tuesday or Wednesday. Of the 2 showings, one of them was already sold out.
Wow. Okay.
The other one, majority of the theater was sold out except for like the first 2 rows, which were like closest to the screen. So I ended up grabbing 2 tickets, but luckily I had my niece's birthday party to go to, and it was going to start the same time that movie started. When I went to go double check to see if maybe that first showing a couple seats opened up, it fucking happens. They added a second showing in between the 2.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, oh great. The theater was wide open. So I was able to grab some good seats. Still, like, it was a packed movie theater. But yeah, I'll always say, if you get a chance to see a movie like that you really like, and I think that's what a lot of movie theaters are kind of doing. They're like, okay, yeah, you can go see The Wizard of Oz at home, but there's just that experience. So they're trying to bring in people, and they only do a couple showings. Like normally it's over one on the weekend, one in the middle of the week, 2 showings each time. So.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I've seen Back to the Future on the big screen a couple years ago with Kevbo and really enjoyed it. Question for you, was there any audience participation, or was it like, were the fans silent, or did people kind of get into it?
Here's the thing. This was one of those movies that there wasn't official crowd participation, but what there was like people biased, like singing to themselves.
Yeah.
And I was kind of torn because I was like, I want to sit here and watch the movie, and I want to hear them sing it. Like, I don't want to hear you fucking sing it. But I'm like, it's an 80-year-old fucking movie. It's not like the Avengers, like the week of, and like people are being loud and I can complain. But I would much rather it not been crowd participation. I don't know. I just enjoyed it much more that way.
Yeah, and it seems like, because if you, obviously, I'm guessing you've seen Back to the Future, but just like that moment where like Biff gets punched in the face and goes into manure, and that the crowd actually started cheering, and there were some moments where there was some crowd participation in it, and I think there's more of it's a loose feel to the crowd, like where people will allow it, or they'll be more interactive just because it's a movie that people have seen, not once, but maybe even multiple times. So because of that, it's more of the group experience. And I think people are more open-minded to that stuff. And I actually embrace it. I think it's cool. And, no, I'm the same with you, like if it's a new movie or something, it's a Marvel Avengers thing. No, obviously you don't talk during it. Don't disturb others. But for something like a Wizard of Oz or a Room, obviously in the Room, it's a different case where it's kind of like, Rocky Horror Picture Show where you're expected almost to interact with it, where this is a little bit different, but I do think it's fun. It adds this kind of new layer to cinematic experience, as long as you're not a dick about it. You're not trying to make the show about yourself, but if you make the odd little comment here and there and that kind of stuff, or cheer or sing, I'm actually okay with it. Karp, what do you think about that?
No, you shut your fucking mouth during movies no matter what.
Nazi.
No, I mean, look, I've harped about it time and time again, but about being quiet in a cinema, but if you're going to Rocky Horror Picture Show or The Room, or you're catching something at a Fantasia festival or something else, yes, fan interaction I have no problem with. But if I'm going out on a Saturday night and I'm going to see a movie where I expect people to not talk, then don't talk.
Yeah.
So,
good.
But, if you're throwing back something old school that pretty much 90% of the audience has seen, probably
have a bit of fun with it.
No problem. I don't give a shit.
I've seen Green Book. This is Mahershala Ali won the...
I'm assuming you loved it.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I like
You've
You're
seen
racist.
2 movies. You've
seen
seen
2 movies.
2
I know.
fucking movies.
It's mind blowing. Well,
But that's between the last 10 episodes.
yeah,
So.
it's
Well,
been like
the-
4 months.
Yeah, I was about to say, we haven't done an episode in like a month and a half because everything came in the way.
I saw Green Book, and for those who don't know, been living under a rock. This is a movie starring Mahershala Ali, who won Best Actor the Academy Awards this year. Also, Viggo Mortensen. Dr. Don Shirley is a world-class African-American pianist who is about to embark on a concert tour in the Deep South in 1962, and he's chaperoned or he's driven by an Italian character called Frank Tony the Lip Valenoga. And he's played by Viggo Mortensen, and he's like his muscle. The Dr. Don Shirley is more of an eccentric type. He's very effeminate. He's a liberal kind of dude. So he can't really defend himself in conflicts and physical altercations. So that's what Viggo Mortensen's character is there to do, to kind of be his muscle and help him out. And I enjoyed it. I went in there not knowing too much about this backstory, but, loved the back and forth between the two characters. I thought Viggo and Mahershala Ali had great chemistry together. And I know there's been some controversy about certain factual, some like facts about the movie that were kind of taken for granted and whatnot. You guys know my opinion on that. It's a movie. They're allowed to go a little bit off script there, and as it were, to make it more entertaining. It's not a documentary, so I'm okay if they play with the story a little bit to make it more entertaining. I laughed. I thought it was emotional, well acted. Informative. Like, I left there thoroughly entertained, thought the actors did a great job. I give it a 4 out of 5. We have one more movie to review. It's actually a Netflix movie. Karp, you've seen Polar.
Yeah, Polar's loosely based on a graphic novel. Mads Mikkelsen plays a assassin who's about to retire, and the bank that he keeps his money in has a thing where they get all the retirement money if the assassin dies before their 50th birthday. So obviously the banker's trying to take him out. I said it on our WhatsApp group thing. I want to see Mads Mikkelsen's character in Polar either with or against John Wick in a movie. He does a great job. The violence is just crazy over the top, comic book style stuff. A little sappy in the end, which I don't think it had to be, but it leaves it open for a potential sequel. Beautiful looking women in it, crazy action. If you got an hour and a half to kill one night and you're on Netflix, you want to check this out, I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
And Netflix is really stepping up with their movie game, too. I mean, they've come up with a lot of TV shows that I find entertaining. Stranger Things. Very recently, Russian Doll. I really like Russian Doll. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. But they're coming up with a lot of interesting properties. And now they're getting more into this movie stuff. We just recently discussed the Hulk Hogan biopic and now this movie. What do you think the end game is for Netflix? Is really to be like an HBO and just do their own content?
Well, they're not going to just have their own content. I think that would kill them in the end.
Yeah.
But I can see them having more of their own content versus like more original programming than versus what they have out there. But I mean, they're spending up the asshole right now, so who knows what's going to happen? Especially
in the comedy specials. I mean, there's so many original comedy specials, and it seems like every week. Like, I know people complain, especially on the Canadian side, that the prices have gone up recently. But I mean, just for what you get, the value is like you can't bitch, man. I mean, you $13 a month for all the content you get, and they are getting a lot better original content. So I think the value is there. All right, what's coming up in the next month or the month of March that we're excited to talk about? Let me pull up the movie list here.
There's this DC movie about one of the characters called Captain Marvel. Oh, wait. Nope.
It's going to be their first bomb. It's going to suck.
Yeah. It's another female superhero.
Yeah, so coming out on Friday the 8th is Captain Marvel, and I think pretty much all of us on the panel and a lot of the listeners are excited to see this because it's going to tie into the second the kind of sequel with
Avengers Endgame
that's coming up. So I'm curious how that ties in. They've been kind of tight-lipped, and the trailers aren't revealing too much, which I think is good. We don't want to spoil anything. So I'm guessing it's a yay all around here.
Fuck yes.
Okay, yeah,
Done.
I'm there. By the time this comes out, I'll probably already seen it.
No,
Although, spoiler alert, from what I'm told, there's a Stan Lee thing at the end, and get ready to cry.
So get your tissues ready. All right, coming out the weekend of the 15th, our two wide releases are 5 Feet Apart. This is a drama kind of love story with two cystic fibrosis patients. Cystic fibrosis. Two sick kids falling in love, and they have to be 5 feet apart because I believe with that disease, you die if you're too close to the other person. You catch their AIDS or whatever it is. So that's an A. Wonder Park. This is a wide release from Paramount.
Hey, you said nay for you. What about me and Heavy?
Okay. Heavyset.
mean, come on.
Heavyset. 5 feet apart.
Nah.
Karp. 5 feet apart.
Oh, definitely. I mean, nothing gets me harder than kids dying.
The views and
I'm
opinions
not.
expressed by the panelists of Old School to Movies. Wonder Park.
R. Karp, is that you? Instead of R. Kelly, R. Karp.
I get it. Okay, Matthew Broderick, Jennifer Garner, Jeffrey Tambor, Keenan Thompson, Ken Jeong in Wonder Park. Paramount animated movie. Heavyset on your list?
What do you think? We haven't done this in a while.
Yes.
Nay.
Karp?
When I saw the commercial, I'm like, this looks dumb.
Yeah. Us. Jordan Peele. Oh, he was the dude from Get Out, right? The director?
The director and writer of Get Out, and the writer and host of the new Twilight Zone.
And he was also in that one show. What was it called?
Bad TV.
Key and Peele?
Oh, it's a Keenan Peele, Jordan Peele. Oh, wow. I didn't know he was in the horror movies.
Dude, he did Get Out.
I thought he was another guy. I thought it was another guy.
You know, just because they don't all look the same, Old School.
Oh, would you stop it?
The thing is, like, he's multi-talented. Like, he's also going to be in Toy Story 4.
That's awesome. Karp, is this on your radar? It's a $20 million budget.
Fuck yes, this looks amazing. If you haven't seen the trailer, go watch the first trailer now, where they start with the song "I Got Five on It" by Big L, and the song has like a beat that they talk about, and they're like, "Get with the beat," and she starts snapping her fingers, and they slow that down like creepy horror style for the trailer. I'm like, yes, please. Plus, Lupita Nyong'o, Academy Award winning Lupita Nyong'o is going to be in it. So yeah,
that's cool. I mean, big budget horror movie. I don't even think it's risky because horror makes money. I mean,
it's right now it's tracking at 35 to 40 million opening weekend.
Wow, that's cool. I'm not a fan of this franchise, of this genre. I might even check it out. I'll watch the trailer. I'll let you know. Dumbo coming out on the 29th.
Whoa, you didn't ask
dude.
me.
What's wrong with you?
Heavyset.
Well, you have to guess. We're going back to that because we haven't done it.
It's a yay.
Yep.
Yeah. Dumbo, the 29 version, live action, with director Tim Burton, who is still making movies apparently. Starring Colin Farrell, Danny DeVito, Michael Keaton. Okay. Big names. Any interest, Karp?
If they don't have the old racist singing crows, I don't want to see it.
Oh, jeez. I think this is a yay for Heavy.
Did you call it Dumbo 29 version?
2019.
I don't think it...
No, it's because your
Karp,
internet
did you hear a teen? Did you hear a teen? I didn't hear a teen.
I can neither confirm or deny what I've heard today.
Okay.
Dumbo, the 29 version, live action.
Yeah, this is a yay for me. This is the end of the a month being weak. And this is the last month for me. The only thing that sucks is my Cinemia renews on the 28th. So it's going to be the day before this comes out. So this is going to be technically a part of April. Either I have to find a third movie to watch in March, or I'm going to test out the rollover feature because April's starting off hot. Like, just doing a really quick on that. Literally, April 5th, Shazam and Pet Sematary. So that I know that's on my list. Hellboy's in there, but I never watched either of them.
I'm going to suggest checking out the Red Band trailer because it's an actual R-rated Hellboy. So I think it's going to be really good.
And then there's this movie coming out in April, like, I don't know, they're probably going to bomb Avengers Endgame or something.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is. All right, we'll save that for the next month for April's actual releases. But yeah, Captain Marvel for me on my list. If the girlfriend drags me to 5 feet apart, I'll have to go, but it's going to be a nay if not. And then,
Karp needs to get a girlfriend.
You know, the,
so we
the,
can
bull- the
really
bullshit
add-
hesitation in your voice of, I want to see this is terrible.
Dumbo's a no for me. I don't know what Unplanned is. I just know it's quite brilliant.
It's about like one of the main directors of Planned Parenthood. So it's going to be I'm pretty sure it's going to be an anti-abortion movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's going to be it for this week. Plugs, final thoughts, Heavyset.
Are we going to talk about the new formats so just people know?
Yes, new formats. So we're going to be releasing it monthly, and that'll give me a bit more time to edit, which will be great. Once I release the next 3 in the next 3 weeks, it's going to be a monthly podcast talking about news. Then we'll do Heavy's monthly Cinema update, and then our movie reviews and our upcoming movies for the entire month. We'll just list what we're interested in, big budget releases or even smaller ones.
We're not doing the financials? I guess it's pointless.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Unless that'd be more a news thing, like if something made, $100 million or something, we want to discuss it.
Well, I do know in April, I want to do the Avengers episode again. Even if it's me recording and me editing and getting it out within, a couple hours of recording.
Yeah.
I want to do that because it's capitalizing on the success of the movie. People want to talk about it. People want to hear about it. So
I agree.
I'll agree to do that again without an issue.
Okay.
Spoiler full again?
Oh,
Absolutely.
spoiler the fuck
I agree.
full.
I agree.
If you don't, so old school, you actually have to watch a movie within like the first, couple days. So
well, we'll make it happen.
Well,
right.
Old school. How about I talk with Mr. Watsuki and me, you, and him, and should your girlfriend decide to tag along, we just go to VIP cinema.
Yeah, I think we'd be down for that because she's huge into Marvel. So I'll go for the drive. I think it'll be worth it. All right.
Now the big question is when the fuck are we going to get Karp a girlfriend? That's like everything got lined up. We got fucking old school a girlfriend. Come on, fucking old school has a significant other.
Makes no sense.
I was dating somebody during the lull of not recording, and it was actually Kempo's cousin.
Oh, you know what the problem was? It's because Karp was like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" She's like, "Eh," and he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
They'd have sex.
If she did that,
he's like, "No, can't do it."
I would have had to choke her out or something. That would have been the worst.
Was that how she orgasmed? Like,
no.
All
right, Heavyset.
I'm the only guy in the group who's had sex with 2 friends, his cousins. So
that's a badge on Untapped. Heavyset. Go ahead.
That's a badge on Untapped. The irony, because he has to tap something to get that Untapped.
Now I got to move up to sisters. So
it sounds more hillbilly than anything. But
that'll be starting the podcast, by the way.
God. Normal everything, wrestling cheers as of this recording tomorrow, but you've heard it by now. The 100th episode, and it was roughly 2 years ago we started the podcast, or just relaunch it. Thank you. And we've gone 100 episodes, and we're still full steam ahead. We've been sponsoring shows, and we're getting a lot of traction. I've had companies tell me that they want me to come out, and it's not not necessarily all over social media. One person who runs a promotion in Indiana called Black Label Pro, it's right outside of Chicago. He seen me at an AIW show. I was wearing a Wrestling Cheers hoodie, and he goes, "Are you Wrestling Cheers?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And in my head, I'm like, "It's weird just being called Wrestling Cheers because I have a personal Twitter."
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, you should come to Black Label Pro sometimes. I love what you do." And I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." I'm like, "I'll try."
Cool, yeah.
So that's been going on, and it was somewhat hinted, but it's going to have been out. It's been out almost a month by now, probably by the time you're hearing this. Is I did do a special episode of Hanging with Heavy. I had a lot on my mind after a recent event in my life, and I just literally sat in front of my computer, turned the microphone on, and I talked. And every emotion that came out unedited. I didn't re-record anything. The only thing I took out was silences, like every other podcast I do. I'm planning on doing some more Hanging with Heavy, It's not necessarily coming back full time, but there's things that I want to do, and they have to be done under the Hanging with Heavy umbrella. Can't necessarily be done under Wrestling Cheers. There's some of them that are like, I have one that's like in mind that I want to do. That's a shoot. I mean, just wanting to just talk about things that pissed me off lately and things that I don't like. But there's a couple ones like I want to sit down with a friend of mine that has been like my best friend for a very long time, which, fun fact, 2 episodes from the Hanging with Heavy archives have been deleted. And that's explained on this past episode.
Okay.
But me and my best friend, I want to do like a one just bullshitting with him. So not coming back full time, but it's going to be like if I have the time because I have an H6 and all that kind of stuff. And I have like things that I just want to get off my chest. You'll be able to find it on the Train Topics Network. Other than that, Wrestling Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Karp, what do you got?
allbeerinside.com, where you can listen to us try beers and be drunken idiots and make old school take shots. Spoiler alert, he has to do a few in All Beer Inside 35, which will be coming out or maybe out by the time you've heard this. What else? For myself, at Killer Carp Diem. Check out allbeerinside.com. Click on the amazon.com or amazon.ca link. Costs you nothing extra. And I get a little bit. I would like
paying Carp's rent for the last 3 months.
I would like to thank Old School and Old School's company Move for getting me a decent sized gift certificate, which I still have to wait for because it's 2 months between purchase to gift certificate. What else? Yeah, at Killer Carp Diem. And if you want, you could follow my beer ventures on my Instagram at Killer Carp Diem as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So for Heavyset, Karp, this is Old School saying thank you very much for listening.
For years, Sony has tried to launch a Spider-Verse to call its own. Some have been good. Some have been bad. Some have been Venom. And some never even started swinging. Now they're back with an all-new strategy. Saying f*** it and doing all the spider stuff at once. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Strap in with this fresh take on your favorite neighborhood superhero. That's probably one of the best movies of 2018. But it's got a lot of spiders in it? I don't know. This movie's a work of art, man. Maybe I'll just run out the clock on this one by pushing random buttons in my booth. What's this one do? That's not a good sound.
Whoa, I don't think I'm in my recording booth anymore.
Who are you?
I'm Epic Geek Girl, the voice of honest trailers from an alternate dimension. Just sunny, upbeat, and emotionally healthier.
And
what? That's all the explanation the movie gave. Want to team up for this one?
heck yeah! Suit up for a fresh new take on the Spider-Man franchise that combines jaw-dropping camera work and fever dream visuals.
With a multicultural hip-hop fueled New York that proves Sony product placement is the one constant in the multiverse.
To create a mold-breaking superhero story with the meta of Deadpool and Lego Batman.
Save it for Comic-Con. What's Comic-Con?
The heart of Superman.
And the visual style of Pix. Actually, this movie doesn't look anything like the animation we've gotten used to.
Does every animated character in your reality do the eyebrow thing too?
Yep. This booth is getting kind of crowded. Who are you three?
I'm the Epic Dungeon Master, a far traveler from a distant realm who earns his keep being critical about movies.
Y es yo, la voz épica de la mujer telenovela. Yo regreso el pasión a los honest trailers.
G'day! I'm Australian voice guy. I'm Australian.
Huh. How's that work?
Boobs.
That makes sense.
That works.
Shall we continue this quest?
Let's do this. Park your Peters, because there's an all-new Spider-Man on the block, Miles Morales.
He's a relatable, sweet, nerdy high school kid that was bitten by a radioactive spider.
Y destruido por la muerte de su tío y su amor por Gwen Stacy.
Wait, how is he all new?
This Spider-Man likes Post Malone.
Calling it Chris now, baby, I'm a red.
Okay.
Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
completely different.
But you won't want to walk a mile in his loose-fitting shoes, because this spider guy doesn't just have one coming-of-age problem.
He's got all of them.
From dealing with his demanding dad.
Finding his artistic voice.
To fitting in at a new school.
Y manteniendo un amor prohibido de otra dimensión.
Living away from home for the first time.
And puberty.
It's a puberty thing. I don't know why I said that.
Crikey, just so much puberty.
Please stop sticking.
But Miles isn't alone on his spider quest.
Because plenty of spider folk are joining his party.
From the hot bod version
to the dad bod version.
Y Nicolas Cage haciendo el papel de él mismo.
Sometimes I let matches burn down to my fingertips just to feel something, anything.
John Mulaney playing himself.
I just washed my hands. That's why they're wet.
And one that's so anime, I'm amazed she's not licensed by Funimation.
Together, they'll battle all new takes on classic Spider bad guys.
Like the chaotic, neutral, and completely terrifying Prowler.
And the sexy cat lady version of Doc Ock.
All led by the Kingpin, a tragic villain mourning the loss of his wife, his son,
And his neck.
Hey, don't take my punchlines in my own booth.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Ugh, this is a mess. How did the movie keep all this manageable? So take the leap with a movie that sounded like a terrible idea when you first heard about it.
But ended up being so good we can't wait for more Miles.
Or Gwen Stacy.
Or whatever they throw at us. I'm down. Down under. Get it? I'm Australian.
O quizás una saga trágica del hombre araña encontrándose con su propio clónico. Los dos creándose ser el Peter Parker real. Pero en un momento climático, uno se muere en una explosión. ¿Era el hombre araña real o el clónico?
Except for that one.
Well, guys, it's been fun, but it's time to wrap up.
How do you want to do this?
Starring... Well, I would watch 500 miles. Peter Piner plucked a pack of Peter Parkers. Depression sweats, they're as sad as things can get. Blonde Recluse. Boss Baby, $20.99. Squiddy Woman. John Hamm. My Hero Academia. Cage Against the Machine. And hey, and Purple Shala Ali. Bug Hero 6. You know, you guys could always stay. We could be an Epic Voice family.
Sorry, mate. Kangaroos to box.
Además que te amo, nunca podemos estar juntos. Yo tengo que regresar a mi propio cabina.
Until we meet again, my friend. Is it Tuesday yet?
Plus, if we stay here, our atoms will explode. So later, nerds.
Bye, Felicia. Oh man, I hope they come back soon, because I'm not watching the Jared Leto Morbius movie by myself.